Hey guys, so welcome back. I had a really productive and informative one-to-one session with Fahim, a site engineer from India, and he had 4 years of experience in the field. Fahim was quite confused about his future aspirations, where he's heading towards. So in this session, we have discussed all the options available for his future aspirations, and by end of the video, he was quite satisfied by the end product, basically where he's heading towards. So I'm sure you will enjoy the video. If you are concerned with civil engineering, I'm sure this is going to help you with your aspirations as well. And if you would like similar one-to-one session with myself, there's a link in the description below. You can arrange one-to-one session with me as well. Let's enjoy a one-to-one session with Fahim.
Even I want a white collar job with a low site visits. Like I don't want to be
obviously you can use a lot more from my CV as well. I will share those ones. Again, this is quite generic sort of responsibility, like the big players, as I said, like Atkins, AECOM. If you go through the graduate sort of
Thank you, sir. And it was very informative session for me, sir.
Thank you very much for sharing your CV, your questionnaire. So I already reviewed those ones, so I can give you feedback on those ones, of course. But I just want to understand, your aspiration, what you are looking forward towards. And obviously, I mean, I will go through your CV, your questionnaire, and then back end of the video we can discuss the way forward. I mean, if that's okay.
Okay.
So just tell me about yourself, actually, about your experience and what the aspirations are.
Okay, I started my career with a very with a builder firm, and it was a very small firm. I started as a site civil engineer. I had no idea when I started that there are another fields in civil engineering like designing, planning, and many more. My senior suggested me to to do like site engineering is only the category after civil engineering. I had no idea like in which category I have to go.
Right. Well, that's norm, actually. That's the problem, obviously, when you don't have any guidance, I mean, beforehand. So you end up just relying on others, basically. Whatever others says to yourself, you just follow that. Simple as that. And you are not exceptional. You did exactly the same, actually. So are you still working in the same sort of a site engineering sort of role?
Yes, sir. Recently, I came from like Oman. I went to Oman in the month last month, October, and due to the some health issues, I had a jaundice there, and I was liver swelling. So that's why I came back. So last year, I decided to study abroad. I decided to pursue master, but I was very confused about what should I do? Even I want a white collar job with a low site visits. Like I don't want to be like the whole day to standing in site. Like this is the scenario in India. Like there is a time of I start the work, but no time of exit.
Well, I won't say that's not only in India. I mean, like if you're working in the construction industry, like as a site engineer or site managers sort of roles, it's pretty much same. I should say here in the UK as well. Generally, here in the UK, like I mean. If I talk from my experience, I'm not in the construction sort of side. Obviously, I'm in design side. But obviously, I mean, whenever we have to go out on site, it only happens in the night, so abnormal sort of timing. So you can't get in the day because of the traffic. I mean, you need to stop all the traffic there. I mean, to get there. I mean, to get whatever information you need from site. So it's quite normal, actually, if you are working as a site engineer or project manager sort of role, when you deal with a contractor. In fact, we call it like contractor, consultant, and client. I mean, these are the three different stakeholders we generally call it here in the UK. So if you're working for a contractor, that's where you ended up yourself into basically abnormal working. So mostly you would work nighttime, and yeah, there's no specific sort of times as such. Obviously, I won't say in terms of surely, I mean, that there will be difference between work in India and the UK, the least. I would say in terms of like, I mean, you have specific schedules here in terms of the timing. I mean, when you can go, when you need to basically, yeah, sign off the site. Basically, there will be specific timings, but generally, the construction does happen 24/7 actually here as well. Because if you don't like, I mean, you have to stop the traffic, and that costs quite a lot actually during the daytime. So you have to rely on the nights, basically night works here. I mean, if your plan is not to stay in that sort of industry, like, I mean, yeah, in the construction or consultant, contractor sort of, yeah, regime, the alternative is obviously as a consultant. That's where I am actually. So I work in the design industry in civil engineering, and I would say, like, I mean, I go out quite very rarely. I would say once a month or twice a month. Well, not even twice actually. I really basically only I go out whenever I need some information from site, or where I can't get it basically a hold of the contractor. They can provide me the information, so I have to go out basically myself, I would say, as a part of the design. Basically, that's what it is. I mean, if that's what your intentions, your plans are, I mean, to move to that sort of side, obviously design side, then you should change your actually looking at your CV. Certainly, I mean, you are in the site engineering sort of role with.
Yes.
So obviously, I mean, if that's not your aspirations in your future, then certainly it's worth looking other options for sure. I mean, there are other alternatives around.
Yes, at one point, time, like I decided to switch my career towards data science. Like I was very confused. Literally, I had no guidance. Like I had no one like who can literally guide me. Like even what I want, that I want a job satisfaction overall.
Right.
I'm
Okay.
I'm
So
not getting.
no, obviously, I mean, reading at your CV, you are civil engineer. So you are qualified civil engineer. And
Yes.
obviously at this point, I mean, like changing completely to like IT, data science, obviously I won't encourage you for sure. With your 4 years experience in the civil engineering industry as well, I would highly recommend to stay within the civil engineering boundaries. Certainly, you can utilize all of your experience, your previous sort of, yeah, education as well in the same line. Even if you pursue masters, you should pursue in the similar civil engineering line as well. And certainly you can reap the benefit actually, rather than completely, like, I mean, as you say, IT or data science or something different, which is a completely new ground for yourself. Basically, you need to start from scratch over there. So you are losing all your qualifications, your experience in that sense. So in that sense, I would say stay within the civil engineering sort of, yeah, faculties. Like, I mean, if you don't basically, yeah, enjoy the site engineering sort of role, alternatives are like these are the design side, and a lot more actual variation within the design. You can go into the design management role as well, not just only the technical side. You can go into the design management roles as well. And in fact, this is design management. That's what I do in day-to-day sort of, yeah, life as well. So I do the design management rather than the technical sort of, yeah, like calculation analysis myself. I don't do that anymore. So I manage the designers. I got the design teams with me. Actually, I'm just managing those design teams. That's what I do, and I enjoy. Obviously, that's what I wanted to do that way. So I'm in that sort of side. And if that's what your plans are, I mean, to stay in the sort of office environment rather than going out basically, and dealing with a client, with the contractor from your sort of office sort of regime, I think this is where I think design management, or if you're interested into the technical side, then you got the options of going into the like a specific structure engineering sort of role or a highway design sort of role. They are quite long list actually. If I start basically listing them, what different within the office, within the consultant, I mean, what options you have, you got quite a big list there as well. But you need to identify where you want to see. That's where I started off. You need to identify from now on, because if you are planning to do a master's, I would highly encourage you to have your plan from now on, that this is where I see myself in the future. So like, I mean, your questionnaire actually it's more about the CPM as well, like a construction project management.
Yes, sir, because like I asked to like my university professors, when I asked them, like when I decided to study abroad, and when I decided to like do master, I asked to my professor, like which stream should be good for me, like what are the different uh, like categories fall into the civil engineering. Then I asked them, I'm planning to do like construction project management, and which is better, like project management is worth it, like after civil engineering, or construction project management is worth it. So they said me like like for out of India, like in Gulf countries and like in USA, Canada, this construction engineering and civil engineering both are different.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree. Yeah, they're completely different sort of fields. That's where when obviously you're looking at your questionnaire. So if you're going into the construction project management sort of like a master's in that, that mean you are still relating yourself to the construction, the contractor, where I've started off basically. So here we split the stakeholders into three different categories in the UK. So one is the contractor, second is consultant, and the third is the client. Basically, that is generally in a project here, you would face actually the three different stakeholders. Every project would have three stakeholders. So the contractors are the ones, like, I mean, site engineers, project managers, like construction project managers. I mean, they are the ones who built the project on site basically. So if you're doing construction project management sort of the masters, so you are relating yourself to the contractor here. If you the consultants are the ones, they are designing, basically designing firms like Atkins, AECOM, Arup. I mean, these are the big sort of names, and they are the ones actually working from office. Obviously, as said, I mean, there will be site visits required, but this is very rare actually for the engineers to go out and actually get the measurements or survey, whatever required. But it's very rare for them to go out on site. But generally, they would just operate from their offices. They are the consultants basically. So they deliver the design from the office to the contractor. Contractor builds it actually. That's how it works. The client is the one actually you getting paid from actually. So the client is the one, for instance, like a Highway England. I mean, here in the UK, like whatever the motorways or the bridges actually we are building. So the Highway England will be your client, and they will tell you this is where I want the bridge, and this is the money you got basically. So that's the client. So the consultant will deal with the client as well as with the contractor. So that's where someone within the consultancy, like obviously initially when you start your career, obviously you will start as a graduate engineer sort of role. So you will be managed by seniors, and they will guide you all along. But when you get to the point, like, I mean, like manager sort of role, like where I sit actually myself now, so I'm work as a design manager sort of roles. So personally, I deal with the client. So whatever, their requirements are. So I have to consider all their requirements, meetings with the clients, and then passing on to the contractor if there's any issues on the side. So the contractor will ask me, actually, these are the issues we are facing with your sort of these designs. So we need a solution. So that's where I sit actually. So I sit in the middle as a consultant. So I deal with the client as well as with the contractor, and that's where. So looking at at your sort of aspirations, and by the looks of it, you want yourself that's in the middle. You want to deal basically with the client and with the contractor, but you don't want to be full time as a contractor. That's what I'm
Yes.
getting in now.
Yes, sir. And the one more thing, does the CPM fall into STEM courses?
It does actually. So obviously, CPM construction project it does fall under the civil engineering sort of term. So that is the STEM, science, technology, engineering, maths. So still engineering sort of you come under the same. But obviously, I mean, I will come to that your questionnaire there. Obviously, I'm trying to get to the bottom of your aspirations, where you want to see yourself in the future. Then I can give you more guidance actually where you should pursue. Obviously, I don't want to drive yourself. Obviously, it's completely your future. You need to be mentally satisfied. You're spending your time, your money, your efforts. So I don't want to derail actually whatever your aspirations are, but I'm trying to get to the bottom. I mean, where you see yourself, and then I can guide you the right path, where you should go, what course you can choose basically, and what the future is here in the UK. That's what I'm trying to get to. So tell me, I need to get to the bottom of yourself first. Like, I mean, tell me where you want to see yourself in the future. Obviously, for instance, I mean, you come here to the UK. Do you want to pursue the similar, what I can see from your CV, as a site engineer, project manager, or you want to completely deviate from that to see yourself as a designer, as a technical, as a manager? So just tell me about that.
Like I, from the beginning of my career, I wanted to see myself like as a manager in a specific firm.
Mm-hmm. Well, manager is
That's why,
really vague sort of term. Obviously, manager can be anyone. I mean, like in sort of a warehouse, someone can be manager there, just managing the staff there. A manager can be in IT, so managing the staff, so he's a manager there. But obviously,
like I just want to do a work-life balance in a construction. Like I like to do a site visits, but sometimes it's a very hectic in a harass and aggressive environment, like in a summer.
Right. Okay. So if I talk from the UK perspective, that's completely the opposite. So you will find, the sort of the winter here is really the worst. Like, I mean, nowadays we had snow today as well, actually. So people on site, they will feel it. So that's the difference here. Obviously, in the UK. The construction works on site is the hardest due to the cold, basically. The weather.
And the one more reason to like for a looking for a office job is that like suppose we take let's take an example of pandemic. I had lost a job because there is no work on sites. There was no labor, and so just company asked to leave because company had no work. Only the designers they said to stay with the company, only the designer, but all the site engineer they asked to leave.
Well, I would say
There are no
pandemic was
jobs.
obviously exceptional case. Obviously, I mean, it impacted everyone's life. It's not just like engineers or site engineers. I should say, it's not similar case. I should say from the job perspective. Once you get into the industry here in the UK, like, I mean, permanent job, you have been treated as an employee throughout as long you performing. And in terms of the way, the reason I'm saying that is so much, so many jobs and the construction projects that's ongoing here in the UK. I can't see there is an end actually to that. So they need people here. Simple as that. So even in the pandemic, when you mentioned in pandemic, construction industry was the only actually in the UK that didn't stop at all, except like construction, everything stopped here, like the traffic and everything, basically transportation that was stopped. But construction was the only one. I mean that carried on. Actually, it was happening throughout, so it never stopped here in the UK. So the jobs were there for the construction, like, I mean, and it was in a sense like it was good for the contractors actually, because they had a free ground actually to build it as quickly as possible. There was no people there, no traffic there. So that was opportunity actually here in the UK. That was slightly different in India or other parts basically. But here in the UK, we never stopped work actually, neither from the consultant perspective, neither from the construction contractor perspective. It never stopped here. So it's a different industry for sure. Actually, what you're going through, your experience, through India and Middle East, possibly, that you had a different experience. But from UK perspective, once you get into the permanent job as a graduate, you are there forever for sure. I mean, I've spent I started as a graduate with Atkins, obviously a long time ago, but I felt if I don't leave Atkins, they won't ask me to leave. Simple as that, basically. But all you need to do, obviously, whatever your tasks are, you are performing those tasks, and it's quite specific here in the UK. In terms of your roles, your responsibilities, it's very straightforward. You will be given the task. This is your task, and you will be doing those tasks. Obviously, your progression does happen. There will be meetings with your seniors and your line managers. So you need to identify where you want to pursue your future into. That all accounts here during your career here. But in terms of your scope, if you're working on a specific project, for instance, if there's a building you're designing, you will be given the task as a starter, as a graduate, you will be given a task. This is the building. Can you work out the loading for that building? So you dead load, wind load, and all the other loads. And then you start from there, basically step by step, not as if this is the bridge design, give me the solution for the bridge design. It doesn't work that way. So it's quite systematic sort of way, I should say, when you start your career in the engineering industry. I've gone through all these phases myself, so I can see basically how I evolved from a graduate engineer basically all along through where I am, where I sit now as a design manager. So I can see all the different phases. Obviously, I started exactly the same way with no experience at all, and I joined the company, and that's where my starting was, basically just getting the guidance all along, basically from your seniors, from your line manager, and that's how you grow. And in fact, in my 16, 17 years experience, I never had a time where the client or the employer had to ask me to leave the job. Obviously, it was my plan basically to leave one employer and to move to another due to various reasons. But I never had 15, 16 years of experience here. I never had any sort of occasion, or in fact, I should say, all my colleagues, obviously I got lots of bunch of engineers, circle here. I never saw anyone actually, they've been in a similar situation where they have been redundant, or they lost their jobs, especially in civil engineering, the least I should say. So it's a different industry. Once you get into the job market here, obviously first step is always the hardest. And for the graduates, the first job with no experience, that is the hardest here. But with your 4 years experience, I'm sure you know the industry the least. Even if not the UK industry, at least you know the bits and bobs about the construction. That certainly will help you when you join here and study here. That will tell you a lot more about the UK industry as well. And the course are really, really relevant to the industry here. When you do your master's here, they're completely specific to the industry requirement here. So they will taught you the real example from side, basically. This is what you're facing. And by the time you finish your course, you're ready to go, basically, just to implement on site. That's where it is. So that's what I found. I did exactly the same way. So I came from overseas, did my master's, and whatever I actually learned from the course, and straight into the first job, I was just looking my notes from there, actually, how I did did my assignments there. I was just implementing those in my real job, actually day-to-day job, and that's what you go through as well. So that's where I can see. And if you are interested, like, I mean, no in the side sort of role, what I can guess from your feeling now. So I won't encourage you to go into the CPM the least. I would say stay in the civil engineering industry, like MSc in civil engineering. That the reason I'm saying that is quite diverse sort of discipline there. So you will be taught about the technical sort of modules there. There will be management modules there. There will be environmental sustainability there, and so you cover the whole civil engineering field actually there. So it's quite diverse. So you can go after completion of civil MSc in civil engineering. So you have the doors open whether you want to stay in the highways, like I mean civil engineering in the highways, civil engineering in the water industry, in the environmental industry, or you want to go in the railway industry, so or the building industry. So there's so various industries you can approach basically after completion of MSc in civil engineering. That's what I can see.
Into a designing,
You can go, like I mean, I started off, obviously I studied personally myself, I studied structural engineering here, MSc in structural engineering, but I ended up in civil engineering myself. So I started off with the technical side. Basically initial my career was technical, so I was doing all the design analysis sort of side. But slowly, steadily, obviously, with the progression, your career progression, your aspiration, where you want to see yourself, that's where you move to the next stage. So I moved to the team leader sort of. Initially I was a technical team leader, basically just doing the design bits basically, and then managing the juniors basically in terms of the design. But after that I move up basically as a manager, design manager. That's where you face basically directly the client and the contractor. So you are basically responsible for the whole project in a sense. So whatever the technical issues, whatever the technical sort of delivery of the design comes, that becomes your responsibility basically. So whatever you interface with your client or with a contractor, that's where you sit basically as a design engineer. But it all comes with the time, obviously. So you started off as a civil engineer. You can start from technical as well as I started personally myself. So with a few years of experience, you can move slightly towards the management. Obviously, when you perform well, you will be given basically a bit more sort of responsibility. You would have a team technician and your junior engineers. You have to manage them basically, and slowly steadily you step up actually. So as long you performing and you delivering whatever the team leader, the line manager is asking you, you delivering the stuff. Obviously you need to show your aspirations as well. This there where I want to see myself in the future. I want to become a design manager or project manager. That's where you pursue actually. And as I said, I mean, there's generally reviews happening. I mean, every year basically, and where you highlight basically your aspiration, where you want to see yourself in the future. So that's.
I just want to see myself as a project manager, like from the beginning of my career, as I mentioned. So that's why I I decided to do construction project management. But I was worrying about the job opportunities in UK in construction. So does after like 4 years of experience in as a site engineer, will it gonna be help me to like in designing?
Certainly it will help you because you know the basics, like I mean how construction or the civil engineering projects work. So you have the 4 years experience. Certainly you will be better off than the one who doesn't know at all, basically who's completely fresh to the field, who has no experience at all. So certainly it will help you in that sense. In terms of like, I mean, I said, I mean, if you do MSc in civil engineering, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to go into the technical sort of side. So you can go directly into the management sort of side as well. You can even touch the commercial side, like the QA side as well. So that you got really good sort of different options, and all these roles I'm talking about, like as a designer, as a project manager, as a QS, they all sits within the consultancy basically. So the office-based sort of jobs. So you can choose basically from there. Obviously, as I said, the first job is always the hardest. I mean, how you get it. So you got all the options open there. So you can apply for the like assistant project manager sort of role, or the junior the junior QS as well. So these sort of jobs, as well as you can go as a graduate civil engineer. So when you get into one of the consultancy, you get an offer. That's where you keep the ball rolling. Basically, you need to highlight to your line manager, I want to move. Basically, for instance, I mean, if you started as a graduate civil engineer, they would expect you to know the basics, basically the bending moment, shear force analysis, the load calculations. These are the basics basically for civil engineers. You've done that for a year or two, and then you need to see where you want to move up. Basically, you want to move to the QS, the management side, or the QS side, commercial side, or you want to go, basically you want to stay in the technical side. So that's where you need to highlight to the your line manager. And whenever the opportunity arises within the team, within the company, they will push you towards that. I mean, that's how it works actually in the industry. So as long you get into the industry, you can maneuver yourself into different parts of the industry. Is easy as that.
Okay, so I can be a project manager as well after completing the civil engineering.
Absolutely. So, like, I mean, if I talk from like current projects, I'm working in. So all the project managers basically they are civil engineers as well. So like, I mean, civil engineers can go anywhere basically. They can be commercial, they can be project manager, they can even go site engineers as well. Like personally, I would again say, like, I mean, I work as a construction construction manager as well. Obviously, just for a taste, actually, I wanted to try different sort of scenarios. So I did try that as well. Like, so with the time, you get opportunities. Obviously, with experience, a bit of you got the knowledge behind yourself. And you can try. I mean, that's different along the way. So it's not a hard and fast rule that, I mean, you started your career in one sort of specific area, like a technical, and then you have to stay there forever. It doesn't work like that. So if you want to pursue basically a different part of the civil engineering, I would say, basically this is exactly what I did. Actually, I started technical and moved to management. I even try the construction for 2 3 years as well. So I try different sort of scenarios myself personally. But I always say, once you get into the industry and you are performing, and the client and actually the employer, that they can see you are performing, then you can demand, basically, I want to move to that. I want to do construction, I want to do management. So that's where you get the opportunity to avail those.
Okay. So, like, in your point of view, like, civil engineering is better instead of CPM, because I will have a more opportunity after doing MSc in civil engineering rather than CPM.
I would definitely say yes to that. You will get, and obviously, I mean, if you were, I mean, as per your CV, if you were interested to pursue that sort of site engineering sort of role, if your aspirations were that, so I would encourage you to go into the CPM in that sense. That's the reason I wanted to get yourself, basically, your aspirations. So if you're not interested in that, then I would highly encourage you just to do MSc in civil engineering rather than CPM. So for those, I mean, who they are in the similar, like, I mean, they have experience similar as yourself, and they are interested to pursue the same career in the future, I recommend them to go into the CPM in that sense.
Like, but I can be a construction manager after MSc in civil engineering. I can be a manager, construction manager as well. So it will be better to do MSc in civil engineering, because I will have a more opportunity to get a tier 2 jobs.
In terms of tier 2 jobs, I won't completely sort of differentiate between tier 2 or normal job. Basically, what I would say, as long you get a job, especially the big players, I mean, the lots of multinational companies, I mean, they operate here in the UK, and I'm sure you will come across lots of them basically here in the UK. As long you get a job, I'm pretty certain you will get the skilled worker visa. Simple as that. I would say the hardest bit is just to get the job. I mean, that is the hardest. And the reason I'm saying that's the hardest, because people generally, obviously, they're new to the system. They don't know how to get into the job market. So there are
Yeah.
certain things, obviously, you need to understand how the market works here in the UK. As long you understand actually how to get into the job market, well, personally, I found it quite easy myself, if I'm honest. I mean, I feel, I mean, if I need to change the job, I find it quite easily. Basically, if I don't like, I don't set in one of the teams, so I would just start searching and move along, basically. But as long you know the tricks, actually, how the industry works here, it's quite easy. And that, in a sense that, I mean, on your computer, I mean, you sit on your computer for a couple of hours, you can send your application to 50 sort of, yeah, different jobs. I mean, simple as that. And you just wait for the call. I mean, that's how it works. Certainly, as long you know the tricks, actually, how to catch basically the eyes of the employers and the recruiters, actually, as long you know those tricks. I'm sure, yeah, it's quite easy. But as long, I mean, the first job, when you get a stamp, basically, you are working, you already work here for one of the client or one of the employer here, and you put that on your CV. That makes a huge difference, actually, to your profile. So once you get, like, for instance, I mean, you get the first job here, like as a graduate engineer, and your CV says, yeah, you work for Atkins, for instance, yeah, here in the UK. The next job is easy, basically simple. When the recruiter, when the employer, they see you already work for an actual employer here in the UK. You know the basics, you know the rules, actually, here in the UK. And that's where I say, in terms of jobs are plenty jobs. I mean, I'm sure, yeah, you know the basic sort of, yeah, the job sites, the LinkedIn, the CV library, total jobs. I mean, the lots of, yeah, big list. If you search there, basically civil engineering jobs, or, yeah, construction manager job, whatever relating to civil engineer, there will be hundreds, thousands of jobs. I mean, you can search there for sure. It's just a matter of basically getting your CV to the right standard, and your, obviously, your basic knowledge of engineering. I mean, that's what it matters.
So in a nutshell, like both courses are good, like CPM and MSc in civil engineering are good.
Absolutely. Anything relating to civil engineer, I'm not sure if you're following my videos. I always say, I mean, anything to do with civil engineer and engineering sort of field, I mean, they're as good. But I wanted to get, actually, generally the people, yeah, I mean, they come to me and they said, yeah, they did civil engineering, can they do MBA? I say, what's the reason? There's no relation, I mean, between the two. So why are you completely changing your scenario? I mean, and these are the sort of things, actually, I'm getting quite common. And your questions was there as well about the MBA.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Because I was very confused. Like some of like my seniors told me to do a MBA in construction management,
No.
and few one says me like, why do you wanna go in like construction management? There are no jobs, and they are like it is not fall into a STEM courses. Because in STEM courses is only related to science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and CPM is completely a management course. It is not fall into the STEM courses, so you will not get any job into the UK, and like construction project management is not worth it in UK. Why you wanna go with this like CPM? You will go to like waste your money. So these are the things which the people put in my mind, and I was really confused. Like,
No, absolutely. So that's where you need to talk to the right people at the right time,
yes, sir.
basically. So obviously, this is the right time now, before you making a decision about your future. Obviously, if you're planning to study in the UK, this is the right time to make your goals from here. You don't want to go to a course which won't help you, obviously, in your future, and something that doesn't tie up with your aspirations, your future aspirations. And that's exactly where I started off with this meeting as well. Like, I wanted to gauge yourself, basically, where you want to see yourself in the future. And that's where I encourage in terms of like civil engineering. As I said, I mean, I got tons of experience here, and I know the industry quite well now, yeah, with those sort of experience, and I know how the job market works. I generally say the way to get a job in the UK is your CV. I mean, that is very, very important. And because that's the only way you represent yourself in front of the employer or the recruiter. I mean, that's the only way you send your CV online, basically apply to the job and you send your CV. That's the only way they can basically catch their eyes. I mean, as long you get all the information, all your sort of keywords there, that's the only way they can catch you there. And that's the next step. Basically, once you are shortlisted in that sort of sense, you will get a call and the interview is going to be arranged. I mean, that's simple as that, how the industry works here. So
is there any like a written part of interview, like written test in an interview part?
In terms of, there's no specific rules, guidelines about the interviews, about the way actually the recruitment work here in the industry. So every employer, they have their own standards. So some like the big players, as I said, like Atkins, AECOM, if you go through the graduate sort of schemes, like as a graduate engineer, they have their own schemes basically to recruit as a graduate, and they do recruit in bulks, basically like 20, 30, 40 sort of at the same time. So there will be quite a number of tests for those ones. So it's completely basically depending on the company. So sometimes you would go through 1, 2, 3 different sort of stages of the recruitment, and sometimes it's completely, you will get a first sort of just the introduction sort of from the recruitment agency, introduction sort of interview, and after that they will arrange with the employer basically, and it will be just that basically you will get a notice, you are hired or you're not. Simple as that. So there's no hard and fast rules at all. So it all depends from company to company how they want to deal with. Generally, with your case, obviously you got experience. I won't say you go straight to the graduates. Basically, graduates are the ones with no experience at all. Yeah, like a fresher, they got no experience at all, so they will go through the graduate. But for the others, I mean, the schemes generally are for the graduates. I mean, they will go through the various sort of stages of their aptitude test, written test, and then the interview sort of stages, so different stages. Personally, I would say I never gone through those stages myself. I mean, in my experience, I never faced those stages at all. In my case, even my first interview, actually my first job, it was just a one interview with the employer straight away. So first interview, I got a job offer straight away from there. So it depends basically from company to company. There's no hard and fast rules. In terms of the CV as well, there's no specific sort of format, I should say. Like, I mean, you have to do that sort of size, or this sort of colors needs to be there, your photos there. There's no specific in terms of the formatting, but in terms of requirements, what you need to add to the CV. There is the government website, gov.uk website. I mean, they identify the generic sort of what information you should provide, the minimum basically into the CV. So
Yes,
I would highly encourage you to go through those as well, the requirements there. I will share your CV, actually, what I found with your CV, what my actually looking at you from initial sort of perspective when I look at your CV, so I can share those as well with yourself. That will help you how you can brush up your CV there as well. But in terms of, like I said, the first job is the hardest, but in your case, you can go straight into the assistant sort of role as well with your experience. Obviously, if worse comes to worse, I mean, like you can start from scratch, I mean, as a graduate as well here. But I said, I mean, the way it works here is based on your performance. If you're performing well, you straight away get into the next stage. Basically, you're going up and up. I mean, simple as that. So as it's all based on your performance, your skills. As long you're getting the skills, you will moving up. Basically, simple as that.
Okay. So what are the salaries after completing like a master's in civil engineering or a civil engineer or a like site engineer? Because I searched a lot and I viewed like different salaries. So yeah, that's why. And like in on Indeed, I have seen that like between 230 to 280 pound per hour for a site engineer.
Right. Okay. So that was the contract. Let me. I think we are going through your questionnaire. Let me share the screen so we can go through those questionnaires. Uh, I can answer. Let me see if I can share the screen. Can you see the screen now?
Uh, yes, sir.
So these are your questions. Yeah. So we can go through those questions and yeah. So we can. So I can make sure, yeah, we're covering everything. So the first question was, is it worth to study civil engineering in the UK? If you're asking me, obviously, I would say yes, for sure, because I know the industry for quite some time now, and I know, yeah, the job market here. As long you know the tricks and yeah, your CV is up to the notch, I'm sure, yeah, it will be quite easily to settle in the UK. And civil engineering, I would say you can settle in, obviously. If you're interested to stay in the same industry, you don't want to basically, yeah, scatter your mind about different sort of industry. You want to move here and there. As long you are consistent, I'm sure, yeah, if I can settle in here as a civil engineer, I'm sure anyone can do as well. So I know the industry, it's never dying. It's always, yeah, more demand in the industry. As I said, I mean, the projects never stops. I mean, all the time, I mean, more and more new projects are adding up. So I can see the future is quite bright for the civil engineers in the UK. So it's worth it. Definitely, it is worth it. I'm still here since 2004 in the UK as a civil engineer, and I'm quite happy where I sit actually currently in the industry. So the next question is, construction project management fall under civil engineering? Yes, this is part of the civil engineering. You, even if you do the course construction project management, you will be dealing all the civil engineering aspects there as well. So that falls, yeah, under civil engineering. What are the job opportunities after completion of CPM and civil engineering? So job opportunities, as I said, I mean, like, yeah, I've just listed a few websites here. I mean, obviously, these are the very common sort of, yeah, websites I personally use myself as well. Obviously, LinkedIn, Railway People, these two are the ones I personally use the most, and Indeed. So these are the three I personally used. And I would say, yeah, whenever I have to change my jobs, I mean, these are the website I generally search in these three, and I get a job basically. So I can just share whatever I've tried myself. But obviously, these are quite common sort of, yeah, the websites where you can simply search for, yeah, civil engineering or graduate civil engineer or site engineer. You can search on any of these websites, and you can see, yeah, how many jobs are there. It's just as I said earlier, it's just a matter of how to get into the job market. That is the skills you need to basically get that skill, rather than, yeah, how many jobs are there. Jobs are plenty. I mean, you will be tired, I mean, just to go through each one job basically there and applying for those jobs. But obviously, for that to apply and get the job, you need to be, yeah, your CV needs to be at that point where you have identified all your skills there, your sort of, yeah, your skills and all your experience there. And you should have the basic knowledge, the least, yeah, if you are applying for the fresher job, the least, yeah, if you have the basic knowledge, I'm sure, yeah, you can get the jobs there. So number 4, will the course help me to lead to tier 2 jobs and ILR PR? So as said earlier, I mean, tier 2 jobs, I mean, like, yeah, now we call it skilled worker jobs. The hardest part is to get a job. I mean, forget about tier 2 job or skill job basically. So you need to get into the job market. And obviously with the current scenario, like, I mean, where you get the 2 years PSW as well, I'm pretty certain 2 years is more than enough, I mean, to get into the job market in the civil engineering industry. So once you get into the civil engineering industry, as said, I mean, once you get that stamp, yeah, you got the job, even if that employer can't provide you the skilled worker visa, you can easily switch on. That's where I said, I mean, don't forget about basically you're gonna get straight into the skilled worker visa. To just concentrate on getting a job. I mean, that's what it is. Once you get a job, it's quite easy, I mean, to switch on. As said, I mean, jobs are plenty here. It's just a matter of getting the first job.
Okay.
Next one, which is better to do, MBA, civil engineering, CPM, PM, and what are the chances of getting job? So obviously these are like MBA, PM, they are different sort of, yeah. If you're staying in civil engineering, so I would just consider these two, CPM and civil engineering, if you're staying within the civil engineering industry. Obviously with your case, we already discussed. I would say, yeah, civil engineering is better for yourself.
Okay, so sorry to disturb. I mentioned project management because a lot my seniors told me that project management only the one who have a better chances to get in a construction industry rather than CPM, because the project manager has a higher position as compared to the construction project manager. Construction project management only work under project manager.
No, that's right. But actually, the way the industry work here in the UK, civil engineering industry, so you have to generally you would start with the CPM, like a construction project manager, to move to the PM. That's how it works. And in terms of the PM, when you study PM project management, this is quite a generic sort of, yeah, field there. So you can't simply go into the civil engineering industry there. So you can be PM in the IT industry. You can be PM in completely different sort of, yeah, different sort of field. Because that they won't teach you anything regarding the civil engineering. That won't be specific. CPM will be specific to civil engineering. That's the difference. That's where I said, I mean, for civil engineers, these two are relevant. So even if you move to the project management sort of role, if you want to move to project management role, you can go from these two and staying within the civil engineering industry. So you can move from there. And personally, like, I mean, I said, I mean, I'm currently doing the design management role. Obviously, it's not a project management role, it's a design management role, but still management. Starting off with the civil engineering, so I moved to the management. But obviously, I don't like project management myself personally. I don't want to go into that sort of side. I want a bit technical sort of side as well. That's where I keep myself, yeah, still in touch with the technical, so design management sort of role. But yeah, these are the two actually where you can move into the project management within the civil engineering industry.
Okay. And what do you think, like getting a job after MBA? What is the demand of MBA?
To be honest, I would be lying if I say it's a good demand, MBA, because well, first thing first, it's not my field. If I'm honest, it's not my field, MBA, so I can't guide you properly. But for sure, one thing I'm pretty certain, civil engineering is more demand than MBA. I can the least I can say that way.
Okay, so thank you.
The next question: will MBA lead to PR? Well, PR is actually any of the, like, I'm a civil engineer, any job will lead you to the PR. Basically, simple as that. So once you get the like a skilled worker visa, that means you are on course to the PR. So it doesn't matter what industry you are in. So whether you are in management, you are in civil engineering, you are technical, non-technical, whatever industry you are in, it doesn't matter at all, PR. Or PR, all matters is as long you have the skilled worker visa. So as long you have that skilled worker visa, 5 years on that visa, and then you get the PR. Simple as that.
Okay, sir.
What are the salaries after completing Master's Civil Engineering CPM in the UK? Right. So in terms of the salaries, you mentioned about 240, £200 sort of per day. That is the contractor sort of salary. So there is a difference between the contractor and the permanent salaries. So if you're working in civil engineering, for instance, for consultant as a graduate engineer or assistant engineer in the sort of office based, the starting salary I would say for the graduate would be up to £23,000 per year. That's where the initial sort of stage, as a graduate, that's where you start your career. With the time, with the performance, you move to the next, basically assistant and then assistant engineer, and then senior and principal. Obviously with the time you move up. I would say it's not great in terms of the salaries. Keeping yourself within the permanent sort of role is not great. I mean, for instance, if I say like with 5 years experience, you will become like engineer. So within like 2 years, you move to assistant engineer. Another 2 years, you become engineer sort of level, so 5 years experience, you would be hardly reaching like a 30, 32 sort of mark there, I should say. The way it works actually, and the way I dealt personally, I have to move a few sort of companies. I know, it's weird to say actually you move, you leave one company, move to another. It's so weird, but that's the only way you can enhance your salary here. If you keep within the same employer, there is an annual review for sure. But actually annually you don't get, I mean, that's sort of you increment, so you get only like 2%, 3% annually, which is next to nothing basically. So if you stay, for instance, with a company for 5 years, so your salary won't get more than like, I mean, in 5 years it won't get more than like a 7-8 sort of K. So with 23K you starting, 30K with 4-5 years, you will stay 30K there basically within 4 years. You won't get, for sure you won't get more than that if you're keeping with the same employer. This is weird actually, keeping with the same employer, and that's quite common in the industry here. But if you move actually to another employer, and obviously you will have a choice actually to demand more there. So, and as I said, I mean, if you're performing well actually in the interview stage, and they can offer you a lot more, and that's where you can increase your salary directly 10%, 15%, top up your salary that way. So that's the way actually I managed a few times, obviously when I started market, not at the initial stages, but obviously when I got a bit of experience, obviously I knew I can manage myself now, and I can move quite quickly from one to another sort of jobs. That's where I moved swiftly a few employer there, and I have to increase obviously my salary at that point. So that's a bit of a trick here basically. If you stay within same employer for long term, your salary will remain there forever basically. It's quite steady sort of increment there, so you won't feel it. Alternative, obviously, when with experience you can move to the other sector, which is the what is called the contracting side. So contracting, that's where you see actually the salary range, like, I mean, 200, 240, and up to 350. Well, you can go up to £300 for site engineer as well. That's where contracting comes in place. There's lots of risks involved as well actually there with the contracting. So the contracting works as if basically you are on a daily wage sort of basically job. So you get a job, and as soon, I mean, you complete the job and you are gone basically. You have to find the next job. So that's how it works. So maybe they ask you, you the job is for 2 months or 3 months, but it doesn't necessarily mean you have to stay for 3 months. I mean, it may happen that actually the client wants completely change their mind, and they said no, they don't want to pursue there, and you lose your job, I mean, straight away. So there's a high risks involved actually with the contracting. Obviously you earn a lot more. The more the risk, you earn the more. And I generally say, I mean, if you have the experience and you can see actually you are competent enough, you can easily survive in the contracting industry here in the UK. And personally, I'm doing contracting. So I've started contracting myself as well. So that's where I was competent. Well, actually, I felt, yeah, I'm competent enough now. I can move to the contracting industry. And I've been doing that for 4 or 5 years now. And I'm quite happy actually where I'm. And I can see actually if a project is coming to an end, I generally feel actually beforehand, because obviously I work as a design manager, so I can see actually what's the duration, and obviously dealing with the client as well, what's the aspiration from the client is. So I know beforehand basically when the project is coming to an end, and that's where I start basically looking for another sort of contract. So that's where, when you get to the point you got enough experience, that's where you can switch to the contracting, and that's where I would say the money is actually. Obviously the more the risk you're taking, you get, yeah, more the money out as well. So these are the few tricks actually. With the time you would learn, yeah, that definitely. But for
But there is
initial,
no job security in like contracting, and all the civil engineers, like all the site engineer falls in a contracting
no,
category.
no, that's not right actually. So contracting is completely a separate field basically. So you would have a choice going contracting or going permanent. So civil, yeah, site engineers, construction project management, they would have permanent roles as well. But sometimes, yeah, the people prefer actually contracting as well. They like, yeah, the high risk sort of, yeah, side. Obviously you got more money there. And some, as I said, I mean, when you get experience actually, so you like, I mean, to take risk at that stage, and obviously you earn more money as well. So you're quite happy to take the risk at that stage. And as I said, I mean, there's no, you're right, yeah, there's no security at all. So that you get only like a 1 week sort of notice period, and they would tell you, don't come here next week. Simple as that. We don't have any more job for you. I mean, that's how it works. So it's quite intense for the starter actually starting into the contracting industry. But with the experience and with your self-confidence, with your skills, I'm sure you get to the point where you feel actually I can manage myself now. I have enough experience now, and I can manage the industry now. So that's where you move, and you can try, yeah, different sort of, yeah, side as well. It does, yeah, add up basically to your experience as well, how the different industry works. So that's where when you see 240 or 250 sort of pound per day, that is for the contractor. So the permanent would be similar, I would say. Generally, I would just add here the contractor, like, I mean, site engineer, construction project managers, they earn slightly more, even in permanent, compared to the consultant if you're working as a designer or project manager in the design sort of side. That is the general trend. I don't get it, how the industry works. I mean, but that is the general trend here actually. So the site engineers, I mean, they would generally earn more. The contracting sort of side, basically, if you're working for a contractor, which is basically the site engineers, construction project managers sort of side, they earn more than the consultant sort of, yeah, salary. So that's one thing to be, yeah, keeping in mind as well. Obviously, if you are not going into the contracting side, like contractor sort of site engineer, so that should be in your, so you need to keep in mind that as well. So your salary will be cut off there as well.
Okay, but it is more risky to work in a contracting site.
No, if you're permanent, it's not risky at all. It works exactly the same way as a permanent, whether you are with contractor or you.
Okay, sir. Let me complete. If I am permanent, so then it will be beneficial. But what about like the site engineer going to be a permanent job into the firm, like easily, as compared to the like in consultancies, graduate engineer like can easily get job in consultancy.
Well, I mean, as I said, for the job, I mean, as long you have the basic skills, I mean, you know the industry, basically the basic skills about the site engineers, I mean, what their roles is and how they operate. Obviously, with the construction project manager or site engineers, you need to have the skills. Generally, if you go into that industry, you need to have the communication with the subcontractor, obviously your own sort of competency as a site engineer. There will be a setting out, or just basically those sort of skills. The health and safety plays a really big part here as well, in the especially for the contractor as a site engineer. As long as you have those basic skills, the communication skills, you can find your way there as well. But obviously, as started earlier, actually this session, if you are staying in the sort of a site engineer or construction project managers, there are times, I mean, you have to work like nights and different sort of abnormal sort of timing. That this is where we started off basically. So if you are happy with that one, for sure there is always a place actually if you want to go there. But for that one, if you pursue that side, I would encourage you. I mean, if you need to go into the construction project management sort of course in that sense. If you don't want to go into that sort of in your aspirations, not going into that side, that's where I started off. Like, I mean, you need to, in that case, you concentrate on civil engineering.
Work-life balance is not good in like at site engineering.
Absolutely, it's not good at all. Well, obviously with the if you got a family, that's where it gets really clogged as well, basically with the family. So you can't manage both your family life. With your if you are on your own initially, obviously it's okay. I mean, you can manage yourself, but with the family for certain, it's not easy.
Okay.
And is construction industry good in the UK? Certainly it's very good, and it's booming. It's booming, as I said. I mean, there is a huge projects. I mean, currently in the pipeline. Well, not in the pipeline already. Started, especially the high speed 2, which is a huge project, and there's a huge demand in the high speed 2 railway project, which is the first phase completion is 2032, and the second phase is, I believe, 2050. So just imagine, I mean, it's never ending story, I mean, actually, to that project. Okay. And it will take most of the excuse me, it will take most of the actually the recruitment there. And in fact, I would say I do receive the least, I would say, a one email or one call from HS2 about the jobs. I mean, it's so much in demand there, civil engineering.
So any course related to construction or civil engineering will be helpful for me.
Absolutely. But that's where I said you need to clear your mind from now to make sure your aspiration, your future aspiration ties in with you, whatever course you are choosing now. Because otherwise, I mean, you're going to lose that opportunity. Whatever you're going to learn in your course, as I said, you will be implementing that in your practical life. So you need to choose the course. That's where your aspirations are. What industry you want to keep yourself in.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me. Right. Let me quickly share your CV. Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. So it's quite actually what I found. The main actually theme here for the CV is you need to talk mostly about yourself. I mean, what you did, what your responsibilities are, not about who did. I mean, you need to quite be specific in first person, sort of, I did this, I managed the contractor, I did that with health and safety, I managed the cost. So you need to use the I sort of, theme quite a lot. In terms of requirements, address is generally not required. I would say encourage you to check the gov.uk website to start with, and just have a look basically on their CV, UK CV requirements, and there will be bullet points basically there, what needs to include in your CV. So that would be quite generic sort of statements there. So you need to make sure you just tie in with the requirements there. But I'm just talking here from the civil engineering perspective, actually, what you need to include here in your CV. So the profile, it's not, from UK perspective, it doesn't feel like a quite punchy there. You need to highlight your skills. It's like, maybe I'm just expecting a lot more. Obviously, I can share my CV quickly. Obviously, I don't want to, my experience, obviously 16 years, so I don't expect you to be, to have similar sort of, experience or similar 4 pages CV. I don't expect that at all. But it's just in terms of, how you express yourself. Simple as that. So like, for instance, this is my CV. So profile, but like, I got quite a big profile, like, the 3 paragraphs. I don't expect you to have 3 paragraphs there. But if you read through this profile, my profile here, you will straight away know what my experiences and what my role is. That is very important. You need to highlight from the very onset what you've been doing, what your current role is. That is very important, because someone, the recruiter, they want to just look at your profile and they need to understand what your key skills are, what your current roles are, whether you fit in their bill, basically what they're looking for. So this is quite important, the profile. So if you read that, so I said, experience, chartered civil engineer, 16 is a professional experience, track record of civil engineering design, technical assurance, delivery of multidisciplinary engineering projects within railway sector in the UK overseas. So here I covered all my sort of, I'm a chartered, civil, 16 years experience, and these are my specialties there. So I'll cover straight away there. So if they are looking for someone like a technical assurance, civil designer, or multidisciplinary engineering projects, so sort of, role that they got it. So they straight away go basically these, and all these ones, these are the key words as well. So for engineering sector, you should be using all these keywords, because the way the industry were actually, obviously the recruitment agency, they would do the control F sort of, theme there, and they will find the technical, basically the keywords there, and just shortlist the CVs. That's how they work. So all these sort of keywords, you should be using them in your CV. That's where you come to the surface, actually your CV come to the shortlist. And then I said, I manage engineering teams, drive technical and quality efficiency, develop solution, balancing needs, performance, safety, compliance, cost. See, these are all, again, these are all keywords again here.
Okay.
So you need to be, the more keywords you use in your CV, the more it becomes apparent for the recruitment agency. They will find your CV straight away, basically, because if they're searching for any of these keywords, so your CV will come to the surface. So simple as that. The more keywords you use, the better, basically. The better is the chance you will get a call. I will share this CV for your guidance, just to have a look. As I said, I don't expect you to have similar 4 pages, but it's just for yourself to get the keywords from there. It's still civil engineering field, so you can get similar. So like a health and safety must be there, because if you are a site engineer, or you've done similar work, you must mention about health and safety. That is the basic requirements actually in the industry. And like here, key experience, I cover my design, assurance, temporary works, bridges, structures. See, these are again all the keywords here. So you can use as many as you can in the keywords, and that's where your CV is going to top up, basically. In terms of experience, so here generally I would start basically with the like project, a bit of a description, how much that the value, the fee of the project, where it is, and actually what your role is on the project. So I will start basically, like this is just about the project itself, what the value is, who is the client, and who's the contractor basically. And then I started off, I work as a civil design CRE, led a number of designs. So this is just the introduction about this project. So I work for AECOM. So this is just the introduction, basically. So this is about the project. This is my responsibility, basically, what I've been doing on the project. And these are the key items, actually, what I've been doing. So see, so advisor on civil administration of interfacing management, civil engineering design, and accomplishment. Like, I mean, you don't need to put separate accomplishment, you can combine them. But here you can see, like, I improve collaboration amongst various AECOM design teams. So you should be using the I word quite a lot. Basically, this is what you did, so what your responsibilities are. So that this is quite important. So you need to use the I word quite a lot in your CV. It just goes on a similar theme, basically going to the next phases and next projects. This is what I found a bit lacking, actually, your CV. So when I look at, the keywords are missing. Like, I mean, I've just marked health and safety, key performance indicator, technical assurance, site management, project coordination, site reporting. Obviously, just judging from your experience. So these should be the key experience. I mean, you should, that the key words actually you should be using quite a lot. Obviously, you can use a lot more from my CV as well. I will share those ones. Again, this is quite generic sort of responsibilities here. Like, for instance, I mean, you're using like these ones, use different concrete. So it doesn't tell you, I mean, this is your responsibility. It's just use different concrete. So this is not your responsibility. Obviously, this is something they should be doing anyway. I mean, like using different as per the design. So you should be using more like, I manage the team, I supervise the team, construction supervision, site assurance, like these sort of wording you should be using. So I supervise the team, a technical assurance on the side, basically, coordination with the client, with the contractor. So these are the keywords you should be using. So it just goes the same theme. So I'd say again, here I've just typed in a brief introduction of the project and your role at the start. Similar what I've just shown in my CV, which start off basically here, start of the project. Like, I mean, this project now, no one, obviously, I'm as an outsider, I don't know what that project is. So completely I'm blank basically what that project is. So you need to have a brief, so a couple of lines basically. This is the value, this is the client, and this is my role on the project, what I've been doing, and then your responsibilities, your key responsibilities on the project. So I would start basically similar theme all along, and just say highlighting role, responsibility, use first person I, update all projects. So similar basically all the projects if you can just work out all your experience similar. Here you don't need to do like, I mean, school and that if you go any other sort of certification, anything, training, health and safety, any other training, you can add them here. Obviously the health and safety, anything, site engineer without health and safety, it complete doesn't work, I mean, in the UK. So simple as that. You are not allowed, simple as that, you are not allowed on site, even not even a site engineer, but even if you are outsider, you are going on site, you need to have the least the induction, site induction. So that is the minimum requirement. Even if you're not concerned with the project and if you want to go on site, you need to have the site induction. I mean, so that is the minimum health and safety requirement here in the UK. So you must add something about the health and safety, and quite a lot actually in all these. If you're working as a site engineer or project manager, a construction manager, so you should use quite a lot actually the health and safety.
Okay.
So that's your CV. I will share this CV as well. I would just let me bring another screen here. Well, this is just a quick, actually, when I was talking, I did a quick search, basically, construction site manager, Indeed, basically. Just wanted to see what's available. So you can see, I mean, like any of those websites I've shared earlier, you can just type in construction manager, site manager, civil engineer, and you would see there's a big list, basically. It's never ending list. It's just a matter of basic, and you were right, like here 250 to 270 a day. So this is like you can straight away see this is contracting role. You can see here the 40k up to 50k project manager. So that is permanent role now. So you can guess if now from the salary there as well. So if they're given, this is the annual sort of range. If they give the annual range, that means that is the permanent role.
Okay, like for an annual range, that means they are talking about a permanent role.
Yes, if they give the, like, I mean, per a year, they would generally give a year per year. Generally, we count per year sort of salary here in the UK. So they would give you, like, they start 40 to 50k. So it depends on the experience. If someone with, for instance, someone is 10 years experience, they would have 50k, and someone with 7 years experience, they would start along 40k and move forward. Basically, that's how it works. So they give a bit of a range, basically. So it depends. Again, it comes to the interview sort of stage, how you perform in the interview. So if you perform well and the employee likes you, basically that's where you can demand the higher end. Generally, they would give you the range. Basically, this is the range. Every job has a range, basically, whether that's a graduate, that's engineer or project manager, they would have a lower and upper range. And it all depends on your performance in your interview. So the better you performed, and that's where you can demand the higher end. So these are just the search there. Some of the actually knowledge for yourself, obviously, just to familiarize yourself with the UK industry. This is one of the website I would highly encourage you to have a look. This is the Health and Safety Executive. This is like the government laws and legislation it goes everything here, but obviously all we are interested is construction here. So it gives all the legislation here. CDM, this is very, very important. If you are concerned with the construction, you should know all about the Cdm Regulations 2015. These are the laws, actually, what you should abide by, all the laws. So what are the key stakeholders basically in the construction industry? So it talks about all this duties, summary of the duties. I mean, who's involved in the construction industry? CDM duty holders. So you should be aware of all these, like, I mean, as a client, designer, principal designer, contractor. So these are the main stakeholders in the construction industry. So the list, I mean, this is where I said, I mean, you need to have the basic knowledge. So this comes under the basic knowledge. You should have the basic knowledge, who are the main stakeholders in the construction industry. So you should know about these main stakeholders, their responsibilities, what their responsibilities are as per the health and safety, as per the legislation requirements. So you should have these basic knowledges. That's where I said, I mean, generally when people ask me, is it easy to find? I say you need to have the basic knowledge, but obviously someone from outside it, they don't even know what the basic knowledge, like, I mean, these sort of things like health and safety, which is completely ignored overseas. I'm sure, we don't care at all, like an Asian community. But here in the UK, I mean, this is where you get a job basically based on these ones, as long you know these basics. Like, how to implement, who are the key stakeholders, what your responsibility as a site engineer from health and safety perspective. That's where you get the job, actually. So as long you have these knowledge, that's where you get a job. So this is important. I will send you the links here to this website so you can familiarize yourself. Yeah, that will help you for sure. There was another website I see, Institution of Civil Engineers. Quite useful website as well. Quite a lot of civil engineering knowledge you will get from this website as well. It's all free stuff here. Like, I mean, you would find CPDs and the lectures and everything on this website. So knowledge resources. I'm sure, yeah, there's a lot more. Like, I mean, if you go, for instance, transportation there, so you can find, yeah, a lot of the CPDs there, the recorded lectures there as well. So you can listen and basically hear that at your own leisure. But this will give you a bit more flavor into the civil engineering industry in the UK. So familiarize yourself with the industry, actually, how industry works here in the UK. As long as you have the basic knowledge, that's where it's going to help you a lot when you come for study as well. So as long as you have the basic knowledge here from the onset of the UK industry, that will certainly help you with the courseworks and with your sort of your understanding of the lectures as well.
Okay.
And the other one is the Institution of Structural Engineers. So again, yeah, there is lots of resources here as well. So you can go through these resources just to familiarize yourself, yeah, how industry works here. I will share, yeah, the links, yeah, to these websites as well. Your CV, I will share my CV as well. And I'm sure, yeah, you just, but obviously, where you currently sit, actually, you need to fresh up your minds. You need to actually get to a straight point, basically, where you want to see yourself. That's where I say it's really important. I mean, this is the right time, basically, to make the right decision. And obviously, that's where I generally say, I mean, you need to choose the course that can dictate your future. So you don't want to do something that's completely is going to be wasted, basically. So you want to choose something, I mean, that you can utilize for your future. So as long as you have made up your mind, basically, see from your future perspective, I mean, where you want to see yourself in the future, and tie up that with your course. That's what I would suggest. So,
Like, sir, I found one course, like it is MSc in Civil Engineering and Construction Management.
mhm.
So
So
in that particular course,
I would
I
say
have seen
look
your
at the
one video,
modules.
sir. Like I have seen your one video in which you are talking about only a module, not looking for a university ranking.
Exactly, yeah. So that's what my question is. I mean, you need to look at the modules, I mean, like what they are offering. And if you like those sort of modules, if they are of your interest, I would certainly consider that, because you already got a bit of experience as a site engineer, and yeah, management sort of, yeah, basic construction management sort of modules you can cover from there. And you can touch, yeah, the civil, you can enhance your civil engineering BSc sort of, yeah, level to a master's as well. So it all depends what they can offer. I mean, if that's something, modules are quite attractive to yourself, obviously from there you can move either way. I mean, if down the line, I mean, if you change your mind, you want to move basically to the construction project management role, for sure. I mean, if you study that one, so that would give you a bit of a briefing as well, basically, in your studies. So that's where I say you need to make sure you understand your future, where you want to see yourself, and that's where you tie and you study accordingly. I don't want you to waste your time, effort, your money, and then, yeah, you completely, like, especially, I mean, like in your case, if you're doing MBA, I would say it would be a waste.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Now I get the point. Like it was like a milestone for me. Like it gave me a lot of clarity about the like field. Even by doing like by having a 4 years of experience, I have no clarity of like even civil engineering. I have only like that site engineering is only the field and category after civil engineering. I have only this in my mind.
No, there's well, if I'm talking civil engineer is a minefield. It's so many fields there. Like I've been working for 15, 16 years now, and it's so many there. I can't even think. I mean, just to move now to another one because I've been like, I mean, if I'm in the railway industry, and even if I just think about the highway, which is another big sort of industry here in the UK, like I mean, railway, highway, and then building. We go the water industry, we go the environmental. So these are all different industries. I'm operating within the railway, so like at this stage, even 15, 16 years experience, I can't even think to move to highways at this stage, even with 16 years experience, because it's such a different field now for me, actually. And that's where I say you need to choose really from the very onset where you want to see. So it's so many variations. I mean, you got so many choices. And with civil engineering, MSc in civil engineering, that opens the door for everything. So whether you want to go into the building, you want to go a railway, highways, water industry, environmental, and it's completely a minefield.
Okay. And sir, I'm looking for a course with a placement year. Like, will the placement year gonna help me to like again like to get a job in
Mm,
UK?
No, I won't encourage you at all. I mean, especially for MSc, I believe you missed that video of mine, uh, called with placement or without placement. You should search for that video as well. Actually, I did put, actually there's a lot of similar questions there was coming from the student community. Which one is better? So I generally say, I mean, for especially for masters level, MSc courses, I would say don't go for placement. And the simple reason I said, I mean, the employer, I mean, they expect you master. Actually, master level is quite high level. Generally, if
Yes.
I've talked from the local here, actually from the British, the people, they don't do masters at all. It's very rare actually. You would find any sort of British people that are doing masters. It's quite rare. And the reason being because they start their career basically with the employer quite early stages, and they just get experience. So that's where it counts. Experience is the only thing that counts basically here in the UK. The masters give you an opportunity, especially for overseas, give you the opportunity to get into the market. Basically, that's all it is. Masters giving you the opportunity. So the
Uh,
the employer expect you that you know the stuff already. They won't give you the placement. Placement asks for, like I mean, for the juniors, for the BS level, like I mean the small levels. So master level, it will be really hard. I mean, first of all, I mean, to get a placement. And generally the university, they do say actually they're going to help you to find a placement, but it's very rare that they're not going to provide you any placement, and you will end up basically wasting that time. And rather than searching for a placement, I generally encourage to go for a graduate job, and it's exactly the same procedure. You would apply for the rather than for placement, you will apply for the job. So once you get a job, I think that's a better option rather than a placement. If you get a placement, that will be for certain specific period. So after that period, you have to leave and then find another job. So I generally say for MSc, go straight 1 year and just get into the job market. Simple as that.
okay. Like I was opting this career is just to get an experience, like UK experience. What my plan is, like I'm planning for September 2022 intake, and now I decided like what my goal is, like when I will go to UK, I will do a part-time work in a construction industry, so that for a 1 year of period, the 1 year of period, I will have an like a good knowledge, like a quite fair idea about the construction industry.
No, that's another sort of very common question about the working in the industry as a part timer. That simple is no. Basically, you won't get a chance to work part time in the construction industry. So there is simply no choice actually. Well, in fact, when you come as a student, you are obviously, as a student, there are quite a lot of restrictions on working, so you won't get
Yes.
a chance actually into the industry. And generally, they for the starter, for the graduates, I mean, the employer expect them to be a permanent employee, basically, simple as that, and that to
Yeah.
be full-time job. So simply, you won't get a chance at all actually to work as a part-timer doing your studies in the industry, in the civil engineering industry.
Okay.
So
Oh,
simply, to make it, yeah, straightforward. I mean, if you're coming for studies, you have to concentrate 100% on your studies. I mean, that's what generally I said. Yeah, you need to make sure you get a good really marks. I mean, the least, yeah, 70% plus. Yeah, that's what you should be aiming for. Part-time job, you can simply manage the odd jobs. I mean, generally I've done myself, and yeah, the odd jobs in the warehouse or the other, yeah, the big retail houses, you can manage, yeah, I mean, 2 3 days, yeah, there quite easily. And that's generally, you would get only that chance anyway. With the master course, it's quite intense research works actually. The assignments and all the coursework is quite intense, so you won't get a chance, I mean, to do more than that anyway during your term time. So you would only have a chance, I mean, to do 2 days a week. And you can simply just engage yourself with the warehouses or with the shops, basically, which you can easily get basically part-time there. Concentrate 100% on your studies. And once you're done with the course, that's where you need to shift your complete, yeah, divert yourself here towards the finding your job. I don't, well, actually, I do encourage the students that they should familiarize themselves with the industry as well. Like, I mean, applying for the job, how you apply for the jobs, uploading your CV into those websites there. And obviously, I mean, if you're good enough, actually, you get a call actually from the recruitment agency. You start dealing that as well, basically, how to negotiate, how to basically talk to them, how to find, yeah, the job. So early on, I mean, you can start those processes very early on as well. Once you land here, started your course, you can start that process straight away. You don't have to wait actually to complete your job. It's just for your experience, to get the knowledge of the industry, how the industry work. So you built up those connections as well beforehand, before your completion of the course. It's very important. It's quite small industry in a sense as well. Obviously, if I compare with India, like, I mean, UK is the size of like only one state, I should say, one state of India. I mean, that's complete UK area. I mean, that's where you get here.
yes.
And that's where you start building up, yeah, connection from the very onset. I mean, you don't have to wait, like, I mean, for the completion of course. So you have to build up, yeah, that confidence in yourself when you start your studying here.
Okay, sir. So I have to opt MSc for 1 year, rather like
Absolutely.
wasting a time for a place with a placement here.
No, absolutely. It would be, especially for the masters. I mean, I said, like, I mean, finding a placement which would be exactly similar. You have to apply for for the placement sort of, yeah, jobs there, and that will be for a specific time period as well. So after completion of that placement, you have to leave again. So rather than doing that or exercise, why not go straight into the graduate jobs? So you search for the graduate job straight away.
Oh, yes, sir. It is a good, like a quite good idea. Like instead of wasting time for placement here, I can easily apply for a graduate jobs.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's what I'm
Yes.
saying. You're wasting your time, and obviously, like, I mean, rather than spending 2 years with the university, obviously, you're gonna get the degree after 2 years in that case, because you have to complete the placement as well to get a degree. So rather than getting the degree in 2 years, you get a degree in 1 year and start, yeah, looking for graduate. If you get a graduate role straight away, if you're lucky enough, that means, yeah, after 2 years you would have 1 year's experience already in the industry. So I mean, happy days.
Okay. So it's happening a lot. Like,
So I talk quite a lot actually. So I'm sure, yeah, you got the message across, basically how the industry work here in the UK. And I'm
oh,
sure,
yeah.
yeah, you got a bit of a choices now, yeah, where to go from here on.
Yes, sir. Now cleared my almost all the doubts. Like I have cleared my vision that I have to do MSc in civil engineering construction management. So I will have an opportunity to do go in construction management as well as in like civil engineering.
Good,
I am
good.
clear
No,
with this vision.
it's good to know. In 1.5 hours, yeah, at least yeah, you clear your direction now. So that's good to
Yes,
know.
sir. And thanks a lot, sir. Like, Alhamdulillah, like I cleared my all the doubt now.
No, that's good to know. At least yeah, that was helpful. So obviously during the time, I mean, if you go any question along the way, so you can always ask the questions. You can join the WhatsApp groups. Actually, generally add the links into my YouTube videos as well. There are some links. Yeah, some WhatsApp groups. Lots of students similar like yourself. They're coming for study, so lots of students there as well. So they do talk quite a lot about the studies and about different universities. So that would be useful for yourself to join in there. And if you got any question, I do get a chance actually to respond to the relevant questions there as well. But even if I don't respond, there's quite competent the people in the group there, so you will get responses there if you got any questions there.
But I have not found any link for WhatsApp group.
There will be, if you look at the descriptions in any of the video.
Every video.
Pretty much, yeah. I would say the least. I would say that the latest. I mean, if you look at the latest videos, you should find some links there to the WhatsApp groups.
Okay, sir. I will join your WhatsApp group. And the last one, sir, is if I do like construct MSc in civil engineering, so will I be able to go for a site jobs for a site engineer jobs?
Yes, absolutely. There's that's where civil engineering is so diverse. Like, I mean, you can apply for like a site engineer, but as long you know I come to the same point, as long you know the basics basically of the industry. So it's completely different fields. I mean, if you're talking about the site engineer role, or as a design engineer, basically, as a graduate design engineer, or as a project manager, so they are completely different sort of fields. As long you have the basic knowledge of each field, you can apply. There's no harm, there's no restriction at all. And in fact, I mean, if you look at the job descriptions, basically generally you would see they don't specify, like, I mean, like we need specific sort of industry. I mean, especially for the graduates, it doesn't ask. It's just a civil engineer. And a civil engineer covers everything. I mean, that covers highways, they cover railway, highways, water industry, and all the other. I mean, even you can go into the geotechnics, I mean, which is completely, I generally ignore that as well.
Sir, I also that like the geotechnic and highway. I will go with the building designs or a building construction only.
So that's again, like, I mean, even if you go into the building industry, that's completely a separate entity here in the UK. So you completely cut off from the highways and from the railways. So you go into the building. So that's a completely different industry here.
Okay.
So that's where I say you need to be really specific about your. And now, in terms of if you stay in the civil engineering industry, I would say that just do MSc in civil engineering, and then you can choose wherever you want to go. Basically, you want to go into building, you want to go railway, highways, wherever you wish. You can apply to anyone.
Okay. Clear.
So good to know. So it was lovely talking to yourself, and I hope, I mean, this was a useful session. As said, I mean,
Yes,
if you
sir,
go
it
still.
was very used. Like, how could I thank you, sir? And it was very informative session for me, sir.
No, it was a pleasure actually. I never had so much detail sort of talking about my field. I love talking about civil engineering. I don't know, people, like friends, and they talk me about like it's so boring stuff. I said no, I enjoy it. I mean, talking, I can talk for hours and hours about civil engineering. I love it. for some reason. Although I mean, it's not like not fascinating. I'm like what I do, but I love talking about civil engineering. I've been in the industry for quite a long time now, and I just want to pass on basically the messages, what I've been learning and what I've experienced actually. And I believe the YouTube is working actually. So it's been a year now, and I'm quite lucky actually, people like yourself, and I'm helping the others, and it's just great when they say they understand now. Like I mean, yourself now, the actually the response is you understood how you feel it now. So it gives me a pleasure. It gives me a pleasure that at least I can help the youngsters. That's what I started actually this all about. It was about just to transfer my knowledge and my experience here to the youngsters. As long as it's helping, that's helping me. We call it mental health. So it's for my mental health now. So I'm improving my mental health.
And you cleared my all the doubts, sir. When I will reach UK, I will definitely try to get in touch with you.
Inshallah.
Inshallah, sir.
Okay. Is there anything else before we conclude?
Nothing more than one question. Like, will 2 years be enough to get a job?
Absolutely. 2 years is more than enough, as long as you know how to get a job. As said earlier, you need to have the right CV, and you need to have the basic knowledge of the industry. These are the two requirements basically. As long you are on top of these two, I'm sure 2 years is more than enough.
Like if I talk about like for to getting a job, like if I will not able to get a job like as an assistant engineer or an engineer or a manager, so I can easily start my career as a graduate engineer with my past experience.
I should say because you know the basics from obviously 4 years is good enough experience. You know the basics there. That should give you a lot more better chances. Obviously, if you are applying for the same job as the other graduates, obviously you get priority. You got 4 years experience there, so definitely it's going to help you. But again, like I mean, your experience is overseas. You need to understand the UK industry. That's what it's very important to understand the basic the local knowledge of UK industry. That's where the website I've shared. So you need to understand those basic legislations basically about the industry. I'm sure that certainly is going to help. Your experience is going to worth a go down the line.
Okay, sir. Done.
Thank you very much. It's going to be you passed the midnight now. By looks of it.
Okay. And it was very it was very pleasure to contact you, and it's my luck that I contacted you and I just wrote a comment on your channel so that I have a chance to meet with you.
Thank you very much. It was nice to see you. Thank you very much, and good luck with your future.
Okay, thank you, sir. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. Allah Hafiz. Allah Hafiz.